FedEx full, we commanding the block. Burgundy and gold, got the city on lock. Hustling plays, ain't no need to pretend. DC reppin' strong and we fight to the end. Commanders moving, no breaks, no pause. Hands in the dirt, respecting the call. KDot and Amit, dissect the grind. District divider with the city in mind. Trying to dance why, don't miss a bit. And you gotta spread the words, or shit is shit. KDot.
Welcome, everyone, to District Divide, DC Sports Podcast. More specifically, a Washington Commanders podcast. I am Amit. That is KDot. Welcome to episode 11 of the Commanders off-season. Last episode, we talked about the running backs, both from the pure talent standpoint as well as fit for our Washington Commanders, who we would like. And now we're doing the same thing with the edge rusher position. Who do we want on the Washington Commanders with the first round pick, maybe the second round pick? We're going to break down some of the edge rushers for you guys, and then go to the comment mailbag as we always do, and then after the pod today. So before we begin this episode, if you could please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment as you always do, and KDot.
The drought is almost over. Draft is almost among us. And then sweet, sweet money time. NBA playoffs, baby. I'm feeding for the bet on something, man. I just put together a master problem. I don't know shit about golf. I just did it. I'm feeding. I'm feeding just as much as A-Train loves that Bolivian blankety blank and Clarendon, baby. Shit. Shut up. I need bet money.
Share this shit. Initially thought it was going to be a poem, and then just give KDot something to bet on, guys. All right, so the NBA playoffs is going to be fabulous, and if you got some props you like, I don't know, throw them in the comments. Anyway, without further ado, why don't we go ahead and get into it? The edge rusher position. A lot of experts, a lot of analysts, a lot of fans are going, hey, you know what the Washington Commanders need more than anything is an edge rusher. So this draft has quite a few of them. So there are some big names, of course, Abdul Carter, who some people have as the best player in this draft out of Penn State, wearing number 11. Some people do. He's supposed to go in the top 3. So he probably doesn't fall to 29, nor do we make a move. But that's an example of an edge rusher. We also got Jalen Walker, Shemar Stewart. We're going to go through all these names. So KDot, over to you. Edge rusher, the floor is totally yours. Which ones do you love when you were watching them? Which fit with the Commanders? Over to you.
It gets interesting. So, like, when we talked about last episode, we talked about last couple episodes and had some stuff in the comment mailbag as far as like looking at best player available compared to fit and drafting for need and this, that, and the other. And when you're sitting there at 29, it gets really, really interesting as far as what they might do with that first pick. I mean, I do think anything's really on the table, but as we're focusing on edge on this particular point in time, I still think most likely they are moving back from this particular position. Like if I had to put any money on it, that's what I'm going with. And actually, I get really excited if that ends up being a prospect because I don't know about you. When you're doing draft trade scenarios, right? Like I downloaded the entire point system.
The Jimmy Johnson trade chart. Yeah.
Right. And then you're doing the whole, and when I do that and I look at, and then compare it to what it is I see other teams are needing that could make the jump up to 29, depending on how some things fall. I see some really interesting possibilities to get like a second and a third round pick and like the players that are really like, okay, that could get kind of cool. But then that's also dependent on when you look at this draft, you look around 29 is when you're also looking at absolute pure fucking chaos because you have no idea how things are going to fall. Like if we were looking specifically at edge, it does look like if you look at certain mock drafts, you listen to me to content like you, then you'll see that there's usually a run. A lot of mock drafts are showing that there's a run on edge rushers right before the Commanders get to pick. Yeah. So it's like, all right, if they're going to stand pat, if we're thinking that under no circumstances they're going to move up, they'll stay or move back. Let's go based on that. Let's start off with if they stay at 29, who my top pick is. And to me, it's Mykell Williams. Is that how you say it? Mykell or Mykell?
Mykell. Yeah.
Mykell.
Yep.
When they do these little stupid Mykell. Just be Mykell. Mykell
Williams.
Mr. Williams from Georgia. It is your turn to be number 1 on my sheet. Now, once again, when I'm looking at this, it doesn't edge rush right now at this particular position doesn't jump off the screen for me like some of the running backs do. So you're not going to see me as hype as I was about like a Dylan Sampson or even our guy from Ohio State. Like you're not going to see me getting that crazy. But I did really like what I saw on tape as far as Williams. The comp that I would look at is Jason Pierre-Paul with all of his fingers meets Cam Jordan. That's what I'm looking at. Power to technique blend, violent hands. He plays grown man fucking ball. Does he look as flashy like an Abdul Carter on the tape? Absolutely not. But he's pretty sound in what he's doing. You can also see that he's getting bigger. 6'5", 265, long arms. NFL strong already at that fucking frame. Good shit. Running out the gate. He's played everywhere on the Georgia front. 5-tech, 3-tech, wide nine, everywhere. Which is something you'll know that for the Washington Commanders, especially on that defensive line, it looks like they want certain guys to do certain things, right? It's really hard to gauge the fit for Washington depending on what it is they're going to do with the edge. We talk about like them doing elephant end. Okay, if they do elephant end, where's Dorance Armstrong going to be? All right, what do they have in mind for Frankie Louvu if they're going to give our boy, what's his name? What's Jordan
McGee?
Jordan McGee more time. Like, what's it actually going to look like in certain circumstances? But I do think Mykell Williams, Mykell, I'm never going to.
Mykell.
I don't want to call him.
You're still
that.
not doing it.
I don't want to call him that.
Did you also call Ashton Gentry?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Please continue.
There are certain names that should be other names. I don't think I'm. Yeah. Or if you want me to say it away, then spell it right. It's like when I see SEAN, you're seen. There's a better way to spell Sean. It exists. You just chose not to do it. So
and everyone wants to be seen. If I could jump in, Mykell Williams is also my number one edge rusher. Just to double down, it's amazing. The mind meld that's occurring right now is honestly incredible. We both landed on Travion Henderson, and now we've landed on Mykell Williams. Watching him play, first off, his size just jumps off the screen. 6'5". And 260, and he could play 267. He could play anywhere on the line, like KDot was saying. Yep. And when we think about, that annoying clip of Dante Fowler setting the edge, quote unquote, and AJ Brown just rocks him, and Saquon scores on the very first play of the NFC Championship game with the Eagles in possession. That's not going to happen to Mykell Williams. Like, this guy sets the edge. So when I think about Johnny Newton, Daron Payne, etc., these D tackles, Kinlaw, if he's playing interior. Well, now I'm thinking about guys that can make plays from the interior, along with Mykell Williams, who was a rotational piece at Georgia.
Right.
So he wasn't starting all the games. He started some of the games, but not all of them. They were part of a rotation, but he was still able to do his thing. He got 4.5 sacks his first year, 4.5 sacks his second, 5 his third. I like that level of production when you're rotational, and I imagine he would play a heck of a lot more for us. You see this happen with the Philadelphia Eagles also. They just pick the rotational Georgia guys, and then they end up being fantastic. It would be nice to get one of our own as well. So just to double down on what you said, KDot, I like Mykell Williams a lot.
Same here. And you're looking at probably of this crop, the best run defender you're going to find as far as what they're doing in that. I saw a quote, and I'll read this. You're getting a Pro Bowl floor with all pro potential if the pass rush counters continue to develop. And that's kind of where he's at. You can see he's getting better as far as the pass rush stuff goes. But that goes into, all right, well, what does Washington want? If they picked up the guys that they have in like Kinlaw and all these dudes, there's more in mind as far as what they're doing with the elephant end, especially we saw Daron Payne do it last year. Maybe they're going to switch up as far as what Johnny Newton does. Are they looking for an edge guy that's a pass rush specialist purely and supremely, or they want somebody that they know can develop or be versatile around a lot, and maybe we start working on developing him in one spot and just see where it kind of goes. I'm not entirely sure what they'll do in that realm, but I will say that if there is somebody that they want from a pure pass rush standpoint, there are a couple of the names that probably ring out to me a bit more than Williams does.
Got it. Yeah, no, and I'm in the same boat of like thinking about it from what the Commanders want. We think about versatility. We think about strength and holding your position. It doesn't need to be that you are a pass rush specialist only. You're not the one-trick pony. And then all of a sudden, I think if you wanted that, you stick with Dante Fowler and you maintain the flexibility with pick one. You still have the flexibility, of course, but less of a glaring need, I might say, when it comes to the edge. You could have just kept Dante Fowler, but I think that they are looking for something different. I think the Javon Kinlaw signing says as much also. So that's the way I'm viewing it. But we'll go ahead and see who are some of those other names, KDot, you mentioned that are just like, hey, they are the pass rush specialists that we could look at 29.
I'm going to pump the brakes a bit on Dante Fowler and pass rush specialist or whatever. I know he hit the sack number total that he got to last year. But the entire time he was playing, he got that sack. It was the quietest double-digit sack season that I remember, honestly. Were you ever like, holy shit, we got Dante Fowler back there?
No, but he was also so quickly that he was on the team and so quickly off the team. I didn't really get the chance to do it. So if it was year two, I'd be like, right, you got Dante.
I get it. I just never thought he'd get there. So like when we were looking at it, I was always like, all right, I think they think what I think, which is like scheme based. Get somebody that kind of can do that, maybe even faster or better. Like that's what I kind of looked at with Fowler. But maybe I might be too critical.
I think he had a good year for us, but I do think that they saw it as ultimately replaceable with somebody that can do more than just rush the passer.
I agree with you. And I would just say that but if their reason was we want a better pure pass rusher, I can still understand getting rid of Dante.
Oh, sure. Because there are a couple names like you had mentioned.
Right. James Pearce Jr., Tennessee. This is another guy. It goes in that territory where it's going to kind of be pick your poison sort of thing. There's a good chance Williams is off the board at 29. Could happen. There's a good chance Pearce might be off the board at 29. I'm also not mentioning anything as far as any off the field shit for any of these guys. I think that the Washington Commanders are going to do their due diligence as far as any of that shit goes. And I also think that they know if they bring anybody in our locker room is going to be able to take care of some shit. So I just want to make sure I make that out. Mm-hmm. Brian Burns with some sauce. All right. Dude, led the SEC in pressures. What is it? 23% pass rush win rate. Second best, I think, in the country. This is a dude that we could say is a specialist as far as that goes. Where he has some room to develop is that we need you to be able to set the edge to do so that run defense sort of thing. And that's where he's not necessarily going to do. But if you're talking about a guy that on 3rd and 7 on one of those downs where it's like, all right, guys, how many times did we look at that last year? It's like 3rd and 7. It's like, come on, guys, one of you, just get there. Just fucking get there. This is the dude that I think with this coaching staff will get there. That's a dude that can get there. He's got the speed. He can do all kinds of stuff. It's like it's a bet on what it is you think his raw talent's going to be able to do. I trust this coaching staff more than almost any other coaching staff to coach up a defensive player. That's where I have as far as him. If you look at his tape to me looks better than Williams as far as the flashy moments. It's probably of these crop, he had the flashiest of the moments where you're like, oh shit, that was fast. Oh shit, look at how he leaned into that. That's what you're getting with James Pearce.
Got it. So James Pearce, and I also want to mention, according to Grinding the Mocks, by the way, we will have Ben Robinson, who is the founder and creator of grindingthemocks.com. We'll drop the link over here. He's going to be our guest next week. We're going to talk about round 1, round 2, etc. with him, and where he's got some projections for where players are going according to his mock draft data. So I was looking at that website and I was looking at, well, where are people projected to go right now? So we had mentioned Mykell Williams. Right now, about 15. I've seen him go as low as 26. I want to say, I think Baltimore has 26, but it's to the Baltimore Ravens. I've never seen him fall below that. But I mean, that being said, you never know with the NFL draft. If he does fall, I'd be like, yo, Mykell Williams, just get him. This is going to be awesome. James Pearce, 26 is his number right now. So very, very close to that 29. Could easily see that happening. KDot likes him. What about a guy like Mike Green, who starts 1 year at Marshall and 17 sacks, KDot? I know it's Marshall, but like 17 sacks is incredible.
Yeah, you can't get like that production is that production. I mean, that's the thing, is that anytime you do mention him, the thing that continues to go through everybody's mind is what? He went to Marshall. I liked what I saw from him. I think overall, as far as on tape, I could tell you that like once I got started with some of the stuff on tape, I started listening. I won't deny, when it comes to draft prep, I do watch and listen to other podcasts and stuff before I do it. I won't do that for a pregame.
Out there
There's
for
just too much shit. Right?
We did it for the quarterbacks last year too. Yeah.
And there was just enough that I was hearing around that name where it was like, all right, anytime I heard his name and us, as far as 29 would be like, they need an edge rusher. Everybody else is taken. I guess they'll just do this. And when I looked at the tape, I had that same sort of feeling, is that like, I just think the talent he's playing against is not necessarily upper echelon. It does not mean that he's not going to be great, because he has had those opportunities where he does look like, when you're looking at competition, you want to see a dude look like he's a man amongst boys at times. He does do that occasionally. So, like, you have to take that into consideration. He might be something great. I just haven't necessarily, and I will say that I'm a victim of hearing enough of the stuff in the cloud and the chat of everybody that he just doesn't feel like he'd be in the upper echelon of those takes or of that pick. Mm-hmm. And if he was the one that was available on the board, that's when I'm truly looking at trading back to some guys that I think might fall back in that second round. Or if you were able to pick something up in the early part of the first round, he might even still be there on the board. So like that's where I'm looking at.
And so recapping your original premise here, this is if you're staying at pick 29, you've mentioned Mykell Williams and James Pearce. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's one more. If he's there, I'm at least having the conversation, but I'd more likely have the conversation about this guy if they were to trade back from that pick and get something else in the upper echelon of the second round, if he's there. But once again, we don't know what any of these things are going to pop out, but it would be Boston College's Donovan, was it Ezeiraku?
You got it. Ezeiraku, yep.
See, that's a name that's spelled uniquely, and for that, I have to say it uniquely. Good job, Donovan.
Give him his credit where it's due with this pronunciation of his name. Go ahead.
Comp for this man, Hassan Reddick.
Ooh.
With some polish. He looks clean. Now, all being fair, I have to admit, I'm a Boston College super fan. I've been a Boston College fan since I was very, very young. So anytime I'm talking about a Boston College player, you got to take it with a grain of salt. Just make sure you're doing that. Now to say he ain't getting the Dylan Sampson treatment. He ain't make me feel like Dylan Sampson. But I will say, this is a dude that when I start playing with some of the, hey, we're going to move back and do this thing. We're going to move back and do. If we leave with an Ezeiraku and a Henderson or Ezeiraku and a Dylan Sampson, you know your boy's drinking on draft night, baby. Like, that's where I'm at. Look, I thought I had his weight and height and everything listed on this thing, but I guess I didn't put it in my notes.
I can find it for you real quick. I got 6'2", 248.
Exactly, because I did write that he was undersized, but hands, leverage, and counter game does it. Wide 9 fit, can go in, get what he needs to get done. Another one of those dudes that does things a little bit differently than what it is you're talking about when it comes to our boy like Williams, right? I just think that he's more in that Pearce mode as far as like you can just go and unleash him on third down and he's going to make shit happen. You start him out maybe as that rotational guy, maybe switching him out for Dorance Armstrong, depending on what you're doing with the edge thing. But I think as time goes on, you start giving him a little more playing time. The boy is nasty. He's nasty, but he's clean. It's like, I'm not saying he's not this guy as far from a talent standpoint, but I will say he's this guy from a mentality standpoint. Is we hear about Reggie White, right? Off the field.
I'm really glad you prefaced that.
Right.
Go ahead.
But Reggie White, off the field, God-fearing man, holds himself to a high standard, lovable guy, teddy bear, professional. Then he's on the field. I am going to rebuke you in the name of Christ. I'm going to kill you. You better hope you did your prayers and ain't going to hell because I'm going to deliver you. Like, that's what Ezeiraku does, man. And I love that mentality with this particular team. I just think it works out. Led the country in sacks per game and tackles for loss per game. The dude's a monster. He's from Boston College, which means he's pretty fucking dope. And I love the idea always of my short, undersized kings making shit happen in positions that they typically don't get to do. Although, if you look around the league, they are doing a lot more edge rushes that are kind of shorter. It's a leverage thing.
I was going to say he is a bit shorter. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, the curve. But this is a dude that, like I'm saying, there's a chance if there's a run, he might be one of the top guys left at 29. It's a very distinct possibility. And a lot of mock drafts and a lot of guys that I've been paying attention to, there's more than just him available at 29. So you got some guys that are available. And if that's the case and you want to trade back, I'm good with that, especially if you're going to be in the top half of the second round. I think there's a chance you can still land him.
Okay, got it. So you're also identifying some value there with a potential trade back with Donovan Ezeiraku over here. And so, like you said,
that's sort of that's what I want.
Yeah, I think you and I are both team trade back if possible. Now, Ian Rappaport just tweeted out, hey, it doesn't really look like teams are looking to trade up this year. And that's where you get into like, well, how often are people trying to trade up in a given year? Here, it's a bit more difficult from the sounds of it, but you never know. If there's a certain run on a certain position and there is a team that's drafting best player available and need, and it lines up and we happen to be on the clock at 29 and they know we're looking to move back, something could happen there. So Donovan Ezeiraku would be a candidate to potentially pick up later on. Go ahead, KDot. You're going to say something.
I know I told we could save this for next week. But I do have some trade scenarios that I think are possible for 29, but we can wait on that.
Do you want to drop one right now?
I actually think the New York Giants are a pick to potentially do something with. I think there's a chance you could trade that for picks 34 and 99 if you look as far as from a draft value standpoint. Also, when you talk about interdivisional trading, especially when somebody wants to draft up, usually that point's going to be a little skewed to give the team that's being approached or the team is giving up the higher pick has to pay it. That other team has to pay a little bit more to get ahead.
More of a tariff, some might say.
Right. I think if there's a wide receiver in a wide receiver draft that's not that deep that they look at, and there's a couple names you can kind of look at, or running back to line up with Tracy, there is a chance that New York kind of looks at it and be like, hey, we kind of solidify our offense right now with this pick. And I think that there's some opportunity for New York to try to move back up in the first round.
Okay, cool. So expect to hear more of those options from KDot next episode when we continue chatting about pick 29, what we could do, how we trade back. That's just one of the examples. There could be some others that we discuss as well. That is an intriguing one, KDot, because the other thing is, according to grindingthebox.com, once again, it is pick 33 for Donovan Ezeiraku, and you'd mentioned pick 34 for the New York Giants. So that could be something that works quite well. You give the Giants a bump up 5 spots, and then you go ahead and still land this edge rusher with another pick 99 all of a sudden. Could be cooking with gas in the draft. Any other names that come to mind for you? There are a couple guys from A&M that I was curious about, and Nic Scourton and Shemar Stewart. Don't know if you have them.
Literally my 4th and 5th picks in that
there you
particular
go. Perfect.
Order. So Nic Scourton, I've seen all sort of projections. Usually the landing spot that I'm at is pick 40 to 61. It's kind of the vibe that I was looking at for some of the things that I was
38 over here. Yeah.
Okay. Comp Trey Hendrickson.
Sure you don't want Bruce Smith? You got Reggie White with Donovan.
Shut the fuck up. I know what I did. Okay.
You prefaced accordingly.
Prefaced it.
I just hell of a preface.
I did everything I could do to preface it. All right. Trey Hendrickson with sand in his pants. He's not quite as movable as the accountant in Cincinnati and Trey Hendrickson, but there's a reason. 6'4", 285. The man's got some size to him, okay? Legit, plug him in at the end. He is your 3-down guy. He can play the entire game if you think that he gets – that's what you're shooting for with him. He's not a situational guy. He's a dude that you can leave there. He does a little bit of everything, just nowhere near the ceiling that you're seeing some of the other guys. But you also got to remember, this draft is deep at edge. So even when I say this and comparing to some of the other guys, it still doesn't mean you got a bona fide fucking starter, impossible Pro Bowl or something on your hands of somebody you draft in the second round or whatever. So just want to make sure I leave that as far as Nic Scourton. But I even you listen to Mina Kimes and them do their mock draft, and they had Nic Scourton to us at they had Nic Scourton as one of the 2 options between him and James Pearce at 29.
Yeah.
So who the fuck knows at that point, right? Yeah. But 11 sacks in the SEC. I just think that when you look at him, you look at a guy that seems extremely coachable, has a good head about him. I saw a couple interviews because I always try to watch at least 1 or 2 or skip through him just a little bit. Mm-hmm. He doesn't pop on the highlight reel, but he's the dude that you think along those lines. That's why I mentioned Trey Hendrickson. He's one of those dudes that doesn't pop, but he's going to do the right things. He's going to play sound football. If he's got an opportunity to get a sack, he'll get it. You'll see him probably make one of those very crucial stops in space against the running back, like one-on-one. He's like one of those guys that you'll look back over the course of the game. You're like, shit, man, if it wasn't for those 2 plays right there, we probably lost. So that's what I see in this dude.
Okay, so a disciplined rusher as well is what you're seeing. A disciplined edge, rather, because it's more than just rushing. I think people hear edge and they're like, oh, okay, that's a pass rusher. That's absolutely a pass rusher. It's more than that. It's
powers.
Yes, there you go. And I think that's why you and I both like Mykell Williams. Someone with comparable size in terms of height and weight, Shemar Stewart. But he's sort of intriguing, KDot, because I was looking at his numbers, 1.5 sacks each of his 3 years, but also highly touted. So where are we at there?
First thing I said as far as Shemar Stewart, explosiveness at 290, built like a D tackle, moves like an edge. Right. That boy, he's one of those dudes is like, okay, when you watch him on tape, that pops. He pops just a bit. And that's the cool thing of seeing the way both those guys work. You see the guy that has a little more polish to him, but you see the other guy that's got that pop. That he might not play as soundly throughout the course of the game, but what do you want as far as Washington? What do you want as far as the player goes? If we're going to continue to do this rotation stuff, maybe you shoot for the more talented guy that has a little more rawness to him because you think as a coaching staff, you can develop him and get that consistency that you kind of want to get done. He's a high upside project player. This is a dude that will show flashes something fucking special. He's got the physical tools and the gifts and the talent. So this to me would be like the defensive version of Brandon Coleman. To me, is like that's the comp. Is like you see a dude that you're like, I can do something with that.
Okay.
Like you look at the tape, you're just like, I can do something with that.
So you see the raw athleticism, you see those flashes of brilliance, and then you go, okay, still a bit of a project, but man, especially in the first round with that size on the edge, right? I mean, that is something.
He just doesn't finish. Like if you look at the numbers or anything, he just doesn't finish. Like you'll see, holy shit, did you just see that? But regardless if it's bad luck over the course of play or whatever, he's not getting there. Like he disrupts a lot, but he's not getting there. And it's just certain things he can do from a technique standpoint that can absolutely be coached. But when I'm seeing an edge rusher, I want to know that you're finishing.
Right.
So like that to me is like, I don't care what you got to do. Like you got to get there at the end of the day. Like that's the name of the game.
Yep. Totally agree. And when I was approaching this KDot to wrap up at least my portion of the edge rushers, I'm thinking we're in a division. We want to win the division first and foremost in the NFC East, right? And we're in a division with the Philadelphia Eagles, who have a monstrous offensive line. The Dallas Cowboys are known for having good offensive lines. It isn't as good as it used to be, but it's still quite good. And then we've got the New York Giants. So once I see that, and the Giants have at least invested in the offensive line, you can agree or disagree whether you think that it's going to pan out for them, but they've invested in it. And so that's why I lend myself more to the guys who are taller, way more, etc. And so that's why a guy like Landon Jackson out of Arkansas also intrigues me a little bit, 6'6", 264. And so that is even taller, right, than Mykell Williams, but like even, around the same size as Mykell Williams and Shemar Stewart, which is intriguing to me. We're talking 3 sacks, 6.5 in the last 3 years over there. But he's supposed to go 49. So that's going to be another example of somebody that isn't as polished, but maybe could do something down the line. Just another name I wanted to throw out there. Go ahead, KDot.
No, I love the name. I was being inappropriate in my own head, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, I saw you smile. I was like, go ahead. No, that's fine.
I had this as far as a quote for Shemar Stewart, just to end on that. Mm-hmm. And I have like some guys that like a couple names that maybe if everything stands pat, they could fall to us at 61 if we end up doing something else at 29.
Yeah.
My biggest point, you can't teach his build, you mold it into a monster.
That's pretty dope. Great quote. Where's that from?
High as fuck. Me and the AI working together. I'm like, I got some. Type. That's pretty good. I'm like, yeah, I got it. We work together.
That's pretty quality. Any final thoughts here on the edge rushers not named Abdul Carter? We also didn't even mention Jalen Walker, who's supposed to be the second guy off the board, but it's also, in my estimation, he's just not going to be there.
They're not going to be there.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So any final thoughts here?
I don't see any scenario that's going to happen. Ohio State son, JT Tuimoloau.
That's Ole Miss, yeah, and then Jack Sawyer from Ohio State.
Yeah. Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And then Jalix Hunt is another guy that was kind of around there. He's just explosive off the edge. If you watch some of his tape,
Jalix Hunt.
Let me see if I can pull this guy up as far as
I feel like that was.
No, sorry, I'm fucking.
Like, isn't that the Eagles guy?
Yeah, totally. No, fuck it. No, I know what I did. I know what I did. I rely on the AI for the fucking last pick. I'm not doing it. That's what happened. It got fucked up. That's what happened with that last one. As soon as I was saying it, I'm like, this guy looks familiar. And you see me lose all the confidence in the world. It's because I was relying on something to make that final pick. I fucked it up. No, I did not do. I will be completely honest. I did not do my due diligence as far as pick 61. I kind of shit.
There are a lot of names. There are a lot of names.
I just punted. Look, when you get to a certain point where you're doing this draft shit, and especially when you start watching all these mock drafts, and you start seeing guys like some of the last guys that we were naming. When I see that there are mock drafts, there are people that are saying this guy could be available, both pick 29 and pick 61. I'm like, fuck you. I'm out. I'm not. What am I supposed to do as far as research at that particular point in time? We ain't getting paid for this, at least not that much yet. So yes, for 61, I phoned it in, and I got caught immediately because it was really stupid and it proofread.
I can add one more name. We sort of
go ahead.
Moment. Yeah. Okay. So Jack Sawyer from Ohio State, who's supposed to be in the second, maybe even third round. That's the guy who made the play in the college football playoff. And he is a leader for that Ohio State team. If we think about the team captains that we did last season, Landon Jackson also won, by the way, team captain. Jack Sawyer also fits that mold in terms of leadership in the locker room. Go ahead, KDot.
I don't know why I feel like Jack Sawyer is going to be an Eagle.
And he's going to be a good one. Like, you just know it.
Every time I see him, like, he's on the cover art for the fucking episode. Over there, like, all the way to the side, I think.
Nothing but excellent things said about the guy. Like, he's...
Yeah! Oh,
he's
he's white boy defended.
Yes?
Nothing.
All right. Any final thoughts on the edges before we go to the comment mailbag?
No.
All right, and with that, we go.
I just want to do a mock draft. God damn it!
And by the way, okay, and so for those that are still here, I appreciate it. We will be doing a mock draft, and it won't be next episode, but we will be dropping an episode before the draft with a mock draft for us. So that's a special release. We're trying to figure out when that's going to happen, but it is going to happen. And then I think, are planning on hopping on live around the time it's the Commanders pick, or if they trade back, we could talk about who we like in the second round, stuff like that. So we'll come to you
just around
live
the league.
or the
what
day
we thought
after.
About draft night.
Exactly.
Like
exactly.
Closer
to the Commanders pick. And
yes.
So with that, we go over to the comment mailbag featuring an intro from our very own Nikki.
Goddamn stupid AI getting me in the fucking trouble.
Comment mailbag time, motherfuckers. District divided, ain't got time for no suckers. Spread the word, get in line. OGs and new G's, it's your time. And spread the gospel, cause this shit is divine. Yeah.
All right. Thank you as always for that intro, Nikki. And I've got nothing bad to say about Harper. We begin with Bet Boy Tony C. Shout out. What's up, fellas? A lot of people disagree with what I'm about to say, but our fan base is proving to be pretty short-sighted. So I'm not surprised. Interested to see what you two think. Brian Robinson has a history of starting seasons strong and fading late. To me, that screams too heavy a workload. This season coming up, we're going to get a fully healthy and motivated B-Rob coming into camp. It's a contract year for him, and we all know the effect that has on players. Draft a back that's worthy of sharing the load with him, and I think he'll have an excellent year. Eckler is awesome, but he's one tough hit away from retirement. Drafting a back needs to be a priority, but B-Rob is not done. Share this shit, y'all. And there are 7 replies, so back and forth, featuring Big Papa Grizzly, Jamal Bibi Charbon. KDot, your at high speed, 30 shout out. KDot, your reaction. Brian Robinson and drafting a running back to share the workload with him. Of course, the context for all this, guys, is the running back episode we did last week.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that nowadays, as far as especially the way that they're like, if I was a running back getting paid what they get paid compared to what it is they got to do, I'd probably just fade as the season was fucking going my goddamn self. Like, there is an element of like, most of these guys do, like, that's why the position is the way the position is right now. There is a war of attrition sort of thing that happens with these guys over the course of the season. Only a few of them get better as the year goes on. Those are your Derrick Henry. Those are your, like, upper echelon guys. That, for Washington fans, that's your John Riggins, probably above everybody else. Still greatest playoff run of all time. Saquon, get in line, son. Like, there are certain dudes that do that, but those are the guys that are, like, truly special. So when you look around the rest of the league, you're looking for those you're looking for the complimentary guys. Now, the only thing with me is that, like, all right, so how do you go about that? You can get the complimentary back for Brian Robinson in the sense of somebody that does exactly what he does, and the hopes of sharing the workload over the course of a season, you're saving both of them, I guess, to some degree. My ideal is you get somebody that does something different than Brian Robinson, and then you're playing with you, at least you diversify what it is you do, and you're have somebody else along with Eckler or whoever else we decide that's going to get some carries. You do it that way. I just think you diversify. Also, when it comes to Deebo Samuel, he's absolutely going to be getting some carries out of that backfield too. I'm all for everybody basically touching the ball less, like, and diversifying what it is we do with it. But what I'd like to see is whatever we can do to make sure that all of our guys have the opportunity to be there for us the entirety of the season, and then work on that workload over the course of the year instead of thinking like, all right, maybe we use Brian Robinson a bit more at the beginning of the year and then kind of switch off to this guy. I want the full complement of weapons and what it is they can bring to the team, bring the offense at any given point in time.
Yeah, and I think we're going to end up seeing that a whole lot more this year, KDot. And so, Bet Boy Tony C, I do think that they are going to find somebody to share the load with B-Rob. because I think it is important that they are able to sustain him, especially down the stretch. He's one of our more physical runners. And that was why I mentioned someone like Cam Scatterbo last week, because that is a person that I think you can do it with who's equally physical, and that helps down the stretch. He doesn't provide something different, though, which is why it's different. He's not the home run hitter that a lot of us have been talking about wanting to get to supplement the running back room that we have right now. But again, I think it's going to be best player available. And for running back, I think they'll just see who's at the top of their list at that time and do it. We'll see what go ahead. If
you're 4th and 1 and you can pick between Brian Robinson and Cam Scatterbo right now, it's sight unseen from Cam Scatterbo. Who are you picking?
Cam. Sight unseen. Yeah.
All right. I thought so.
Yeah. What about you?
Probably picking Cam.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of crazy how many tackles he breaks. I also think Jaden keeps the ball on 4th and 1, and that's ultimately the answer, and I'm cool with that, just to be clear. But I think I would rather have Cam in the backfield for like the short yardage stuff.
I'd rather have Dylan Sampson too.
This is true. I watched a little bit more. I'm not as high as you are, but I'm trying to.
I know it's because Mina Kime said something before I did. It's just
that is not all right. We go over to Coach.
If I said it first and Mina copied me, then I think you'd be like, "Oh, well, at least she followed the man." So maybe that's on the sun.
Oh, okay. We go over to Coach Lombard. You always put me in a tough spot there because
motherfucker, I just got outed punting the AI for a pick of 61.
Well, that's a good counterpoint. We go over to Coach Lombard.
As bad as I did, Jack.
What are you talking about? You know what? Fair counterpoint. You're right. Hand up. I apologize.
I straight up punted on a segment of the pod.
Well, 0 picks hard, like you said, and I had your back on that. Coach Lombard goes, if there's one thing A-Train doesn't do, it's sitting in the corner. Curious what you guys think of Devin Neal with the eyes emoji. In terms of trading down, I generally agree that most round 1 grades are in the first 15 to 20 picks. Trading down from 21 to 32 makes a ton of sense. But Emanwari makes a ton of sense to me at 29. Nick Emanwari on AP's draft profile. 10.0 RAS, raw athletic score, and positional versatility, inside linebacker, nickel, and safety. KDot, any thoughts there?
Number one, you don't know A-Train like I know A-Train. He likes to watch. So corners are all about it. This you scurry that little hotel chair up into a little corner, get a little light action going. The
reason this is so difficult for me is because none of this is true. But then if I play along, people are like, oh, maybe it is. And then it turns into its own thing. I'm in a tough spot here. I'm going to figure out how to combat this. But
anyway, I don't care what your name is. I just met you in Atlanta. Get back on that bed and go do something for daddy. As far as the other stuff, like I get what you're saying. I agree. I do like the idea of trading back. As far as that particular name, yeah, there's a lot of guys that like you start looking at. I don't remember being this confused as far as what it is I think my team's going to do when it comes to the draft. Like, and I think that's a good thing in the sense that Adam Peters, like everybody I named, I almost feel like crossing them off a list. Because I feel like whatever it is that I can comprehend that they're going to do, they're not going to. And I'd say the same thing for you, Coach. So like so it's like anytime that the name gets mentioned, I'm sort of like, all right, that's not going to happen. That's probably not going to happen. That's not going to happen either. It just feels as though there's going to be some surprises there. And I also think it really just depends on how things shape out. I do think that there is just as good a chance of them picking up a corner or an offensive lineman as they do an edge rusher or running back at any given point in time. I don't know. I don't know.
I want to touch on something that actually just hit me as you were speaking, KDot, which is, so pick 2, it was obvious we were taking one of the quarterbacks last season.
Yeah, easy.
The next pick was something none of us expected.
Right.
It was Johnny Newton.
Yep.
We hadn't discussed D tackles. In fact, when Adam Peters and Dan Quinn got here, one of the only things they liked about the roster was defensive tackle. They both mentioned that they liked the defensive tackles. What did we do with our very next pick? It was, how did this guy slip? We're just going to take him. That's it. That's best player available. So this time we don't have the true, like, okay, you need a quarterback to compete in this league. Glaring need. You're at 29. Maybe one of these guys slips from a different position and they're like, how the hell is, I'll take an example. He won't, but like Tet McMillan, the Arizona wide receiver, did something out. Like, why on earth is he available? We'll just take him. we'll just take him.
So
like, I think that's what we're going to end up seeing with 29, much closer to that Johnny Newton mold of like, this is a freak talent that's still here versus the need that maybe comes with a 61 or something like that.
At the end of the day, I do believe that, like, unlike Ron Rivera, which is like you knew which position they were gonna get, you just knew they would also get that wrong
and the wrong guy. Yeah,
be the wrong guy. So like, so you knew that was happening. With this, it is like I remember last year when we were talking about the quarterback, and once again, I back away from this, so take it with a grain of salt. In the sense of it's sort of like just pick your flavor ice cream, like they're all just great. Just figure out what it is you want. Jaden Daniels, of course, was a cut above the rest. No getting around it. That's what it was. And the more we learned about it, he was always their guy. So good job, this coaching staff or front office, everybody, as far as the entire unit, really. This is what I warned everybody last year was don't pick a guy and don't fall in love with the guy to the point at which you can't see anything about anybody else. I strongly suggest for pick 29, don't you put your sights on any fucking body at any one of these picks. It's truly the best player that gets available at that particular point in time is who we think is going to get drafted. And if they don't see a guy that rocks their socks at that particular position, I think they're going to trade out of it. I just think that's going to be the mentality for Washington going forward. And it's fucking awesome to see. But it also means that, like, what we're doing as far as these mock drafts or anything are like cool exercises to see where it is that we kind of think about certain players. But unless Jalix Hunt is available at pick 29, I don't know what else you're supposed to do.
We go over to Big Papa Grizzly. Shout out. At the 40-30 mark, KDot and I were talking about liquors that made us gag and still do sometimes make us gag. The ones that you just can't, everyone's got that one liquor you just can't do. 40-30 mark of last episode. Big Papa Grizzly goes, vodka is for high school girls. This was KDot's pick. I also can't drink gin, but that's because I'm allergic to juniper. My rule is if I'm drinking liquor, it better be brown. Cheers. KDot, your reaction. Vodka for high school girls.
But to call any, like, I'm with you on the vodka thing. I don't drink it anymore.
Right.
But to call something for high school girls and then in a moment's notice also say the statement as a grown man, I'm allergic to juniper.
I did think about that.
It's nuts. Like it's fucking nuts, dude. Like that's all I gotta say about that.
What's the template there, right? KDot. So you want to roast somebody sort of playfully, something like that, like vodka's for high school girls. Also, I'm allergic to juniper. Or is it, hey, I'm allergic to juniper, and you're like, oh man, it's kind of serious. It's like, but that being said, vodka's for high school girls. Which one's better? Which one lands your point better?
You don't say the juniper part.
You just omit that.
You omit it. It's not lying. You just omit it. Like, you don't have to share yours. But see, that's the thing is that you were so desperate to fit in and be a part of the conversation. You had to. Like, you had to say something. But that's one of those ways you just let it go. Get the joke out. That's more important than connecting. Get the joke out.
Well, Big Papa's got another.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure Big Papa gonna come with heat, but he wanted to get the joke off. I understand. I understand. I go.
Here it is. I would love to know what you guys think about Gabe Taylor, Sean's little brother out of Penn State. He's out of Rice. I'm not one of those pick him because of Sean kind of fans, but I am interested in your opinions of him. We all know that we could still use some improvement in the secondary, and I see him as a solid late round pickup, even as an undrafted free agent. Nobody, at least I hope nobody, thinks he's going to be Sean, but what a story. Looking forward to your edge analysis. Share this shit. Look, frankly, I don't know enough about Gabe Taylor to be able to say what we should or shouldn't do with a 6th or 7th round pick. I haven't heard a whole lot of buzz around him. I think the story would be incredible. I think if he's an undrafted free agent, I would love to have him here and just see what that looks like. Bringing him to Washington, I think, would be, first off, a really cool story. And then see, do we have a football player over here? I can quickly check to see what his profile is, but I don't know much about him, KDot. You?
Same here. I don't know. I've heard the name. I've heard the connection at times, but I can't say I've done any deep diving on it. Like you, the story, 10 out of 10. Like, who wouldn't want to see Gabe Taylor come here and, like, fucking rock shit, right? Like, finish the Sean Taylor story in a certain degree. Like, that would be fucking awesome. But I want a coaching staff that puts the best player in our uniform above all other things, up and into including storylines. Because I think some of the other guys we've had come through here in the past love that idea a little bit more than they should. So as much as I'd love it, I mean, sports is all part of that, right? The storylines make up so much of sports, and that'd be one that there wouldn't be a Washington fan or maybe a football fan anywhere that wouldn't root for that. But I'd also say Kind of like when Sewell Cravens wore that 36. Comes with pressure.
Yeah.
In the real world, it comes with pressure. Lots of pressure. There's a part of me just says, I hope Gabe, wherever he lands in the NFL, just rocks the fuck out like Sean did. But to know that he would be slipping into the burgundy and gold, that's a lot for anybody to live up to.
Yeah. No, completely agree. I do think he would turn into a fan favorite immediately, though, with no expectations. They'd just be like, dude, it is nice to just have somebody that reminds us of Sean, that's consistently there. Now, is that how you build a team? No, but like, I think from the fan perspective, let's be real. It would be awesome. And then he makes the 53 also. Holy shit, what a story that would be. Like, that would just be so cool. So let me at least say that much. Don't know much about him. Maybe we discuss him next episode. That would be cool.
Look, and if he embraces that aspect of it, more power to him. I know for me, I'm a little bit too much of a pussy, and I wouldn't want to do that story. Like, anywhere but Washington, dog. Like, I'm not sure. I can't do that. Like, I live Sean, the dude to every safety for the last 20 years. Who do you look up to? Sean Taylor? Who do you look up? Sean Taylor? Like, what the fuck?
Tell you what, though. I tell you what, if Gabe goes, I want to go there because he was there.
I'm all in. I'm all in. We gotta go.
Bring him.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, I want one right next to him. I'm like, that's the mindset I'm looking for. Go ahead, big dog. Come on over.
You know, I just realized when I say dog, I did not realize I was doing the Pat McAfee thing until just now.
I haven't seen him in such a long time.
Same here. And I just put that because I saw a clip of him today for the first time in forever.
Yeah.
It was when I guess Sidney Crosby threw the football and won like $1 million or something.
Oh, did he?
Saw that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just saw that him and Gillis did like $50K for some charity or something like that. That was the only thing that came across the timeline, which is cool. But yeah, I haven't seen that dude in ages.
You're a Fox guy.
We did. I think I'd be watching him then. We
I
go
know,
over to Hermit
Mina's on
Rob.
ESPN. They're too woke for you. I get it.
We go over to Hermit Rob.
Stick to sports.
I have no problems. With me to guys. We go over to Hermit Rob.
Jackie, who?
Wow. Yeah, Henderson is the guy. Yes, Henderson is the guy. Travion Henderson.
I'm a Mark McGuire fan. Goddamn.
Hermit Rob, I'm so sorry. KDot's got a bit that he's sticking to. Okay, and I'm giving you and your comment the time and space it deserves, while my co-host decides to continue going on some little shtick.
I'm bringing the funny. I used AI for pick 61.
Hermit Rob has something to say. Okay, I'm going to now read it. Thank you.
Sorry,
Hermit Rob goes, yeah, Henderson is the guy. Perfect fit. Would light this offense on fire. Sampson is solid, but doesn't blow me away either. KDot, if you'd like to interject now, it's totally fine. There's more to read.
Nah, y'all got it.
A lot of off-tackle, big holes to run through. Has good vision, though, for sure. Be fine with the pick over doing nothing. That's insulting. I'm a Cam guy over Dylan as well. Kid is just something different. Damian Martinez, my sleeper, could be there late. Second best yards after contact in the draft. Absolute hammer. That is a name we did not discuss, KDot. A lot of people are high on Damian Martinez. Any thoughts on him? And then the floor is yours once again.
I heard more of that name after we did that episode. Like it was making some rounds, and I was like, okay, I looked at him. I liked what I saw. I don't know how to fight the Dylan Sampson stuff right now. Okay, I'll place this bet. What's today's date?
It is the 11th.
All right. Dylan Sampson, of all the rookie running backs that come into the league next year, will finish in the top 3 of yards and touchdowns of all rookies.
Do you want to see his landing spot first?
No.
Wow. Yeah, I'll take that with you.
$5.
$5. You're on. Perfect.
All
right. $5 on that. You got Dylan Sampson, top 3 in yards and touchdowns.
Watch him end up in Atlanta and they win 2 games. Like, you motherfucker.
Yeah, we will rediscuss side piece teams once again, of course. A new season coming up where you and I can both decide on new ones. Hermit Rob continues. Good stuff, fellas. Appreciate the comment there, Hermit Rob, as always. And one more. Absolutely. Guys are both spot on with drafting for need. It's a fool's errand. Best player available all day, every day. Blue chippers anytime you can grab them. That last sentence in particular, KDot, if you see a guy with that level of talent that can be a blue chipper, I would agree. I think you just take him. Now, the later rounds, it's quite rare that you're finding someone with that level of promise, I suppose. And so there I can see more of the need. But your thoughts on that, excuse me.
Yeah, past a certain round, I'm looking at the only maybe kicker. Like if you got a kicker in mind, especially for our situation,
which we might
do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Yeah, I mean, there's always a bit of both, but I mean, if you see something you like, that's where I'm always going to. I'm still not a person that says you pick for need, even if you're getting to the late rounds, unless you just have something that's like a glaring, and that's where I really go. Just special teams ends up being that for me, because in anything else, I still say you still got free agents that are sitting at home. You still got guys that, and especially at that point, they are desperate. And beyond that, you still got undrafted free agents you can hit if you just try to get bodies lined up to get need. Like you can still look through what it is your big board is and say, okay, gotta get this, gotta get that. But I mean, all the way through the draft, in my opinion, you're just looking for the guys you think can play.
Yep.
Just get guys that can play, because that's what you want. Nobody's gonna fucking remember what it is you did for need or whatever. If you draft somebody in the 6th round and end up being a fucking stud, do your shit.
Nope, totally fair point. And actually, to contrast a little bit, Mr. Payne, with the first of a few comments here, goes first pick a running back, after that best player available. So that would suggest with the first round pick, or you trade back at whatever your first pick is, right, in the scenario, take the running back and then best player available. KDot, I think you more or less outlined, hey, like just take the best player available. So would you disagree with Mr. Payne there?
Yes, I think the only one that I still don't think you do, but the only one I'm allowing flexibility on is when you're talking about quarterback in the first round. Like, but that's it to me. It's nothing else that I'm doing. Like, look, you guys know, if it was up to me, damn near every year,
trade down,
we would have drafted a tight end probably every fucking year, right? Like, I look for who it is I just think is the most talented guy on the board, and that's the guy that I want on the team, regardless of who the fuck it is we got, right? The only thing you're looking at in any different light to me is quarterback, because only one of those guys can play at any given point in time. You draft a stud at running back and you got a running back, who gives a fuck? You got 2 great running backs. Good job for you. One you barely have to pay shit, and the other one you're not going to have to pay in a couple years because you got another guy, right? Wide receiver. You got 5 of those motherfuckers that are usually on your roster. I want as many great ones as I possibly can get, especially if they're a fucking rookie. You're not paying for it, right? So, like, that's the thing. It's like, as long as you're not marrying the salary to the thing, do whatever you need to do to just get the talent in the door.
And actually, to KDot's draft philosophy, last year worked out for us. Again, when you suck matters. The top players were quarterbacks. Like they just were, right? Like you're seeing it this year for quarterback needy teams. It's Cam Ward, who I actually do think will be good the more I've watched of him. Shedeur Sanders, who I also think will be good. I don't know about great, but like good. But if you put them in last year's draft, I don't know that they're sniffing the top. Like that's just, we got lucky with it. And so it works out that at pick 2, you're taking a quarterback because they're supremely talented in that draft. I mean, so just,
for me,
nice.
I know that people are going to vehemently disagree with me, but like actually looking at the quarterbacks in this draft compared to last year, I don't think I have any of them over Bo Nix in my and where I was ranked.
No, some people share that opinion, by the way, Kate. I've been looking at that as well, because the question has been, well, okay, let's say it's a redraft and you drop Cam Ward and Shedeur and Jackson Dart into last year's draft. Where are they going? They're like 2nd, maybe 3rd. Like it's crazy. I do think Cam's better than a couple of the guys, but it's a bigger risk than some of those guys.
I think the Cam thing ends up being you're not watching any other quarterback tape in this college draft, and it's the best one you're going to see. And it's a gap. It's the best one you're going to see, and there's a gap. There is a gap, in my opinion. It's not to say Shedeur can't be great. It's not to say Jackson Dart can't be great. Anything can happen as long as these dudes are in the right position and they got the right mind frame. But I really do think if like you put the side-by-side tape of Cam Ward compared to the guys we saw last year.
No, Cam, real quick, I know this is a bit of an aside, but Cam Ward is intriguing because we talked about feel, or at least one of my biggest points with Jaden Daniels was I was like, hey, he's accurate, like he's athletic, etc., but his feel and ball placement are the things that put him over the top for me. Cam's got feel. He's a little too chill. Like it even worries me, where I'm like, Jaden's cool, but he's the right amount of cool. Like Cam is almost so deeply chill that I'm like, I don't know what I'm getting from this guy. Like it's a little scary.
Justin Herbert-itis.
What'd you say?
Justin Herbert-itis.
Kind of, yeah. There you go. We go over to Mr. Payne again. Once again, first of a few. This draft will be to add on to what they did last year in AP, I trust. Once again, it is built through the draft, supplement through free agency. Because we got some more from Mr. Payne, we're just going to continue. Love all my Redskins / Commanders fans. We back, people. That's another one from Mr. Payne. Again, picking 29. Basically, first time in my lifetime, at least amongst my aware years, beyond the age of like 1, So that's pretty cool. We go over to this comment from Mr. Payne, which is, I like you too, KDot. Honestly, I got hooked off this show from your slogan, share this shit. This is in reference to the politics comment, where it's like, guys, can we stick to football, please? Love you too, Amit. We Commanders fans, we in this shit together. And that's ultimately what we all are. Want the team to do the best. And I'm already fucking pumped for next season. Some people have mentioned on social media how different it is this draft season, where we're so used to picking in the top that like it's exciting right now, right? But now it's like 29. We're like, let's get to OTAs, huh? let's go ahead and get this ball rolling. So some people are like that right now.
No, I'm still pretty fucking hyped. But once again, like when we start talking about like trade back scenarios, and the second and third round is what's really getting me fucking hyped for this draft, honestly.
Of which we have no third round pick.
But I think we will.
I hope we will. I'm curious
That's
to
fair.
see
That's
if
fair.
we find
That's
somebody.
That's fair.
If we find somebody to trade back with, do it. Like, honestly, that's what I want.
But that's my thing. Is like I see infinite value in trading back and getting some guys that are day one starters. Like that's what I'm looking at, and that's what I see, and that makes me super, super excited. So that's where my head, I think, is at looking into this. So I still have a bit of hype. No, nothing will compare to the weekly JJ McCarthy. No, Drake May. No, it was
a fun time, man.
It was fun, and plus we all knew, like looking at the tape, holy fuck, this is great. This is fucking awesome. But we were at each other's throats. Like, I don't want anybody to paint the picture that it was like rosy. It was very hectic.
That's true. That's true. If I could show you guys some of the conversations KDot and I had texting, like, oh my gosh, remember the agent thing with Jaden? Oh my lord, that was a few hours.
It got hectic. So like around this time, we're like, can this fucking draft just happened so it's over? Because the fan base was ripping each other apart. We don't need that anymore. That was fun. But it's kind of like, I'll get political. It's kind of like in 2024, where you're out there voting, right? And you're like, I remember what the orange clown did last time, but sure enough, as much as like death and destruction happened, it was entertaining. Like you kind of miss it for 4 years. And you're like, the press conferences were shit, but you're like, I kind of miss that orange fucker just insulting people. Like,
KDot, we've got a much, much deeper issue as a society, which is that boredom is now terrifying to people.
I don't understand.
They would rather blow something up and be entertained than be bored.
I don't, and here's the thing, I don't understand in 2025 how any human being alive could ever be bored. If you ever say that you're bored, I feel like you should be bitch slapped into the sun.
Like if I turned all the electronics off in here, if I were somebody else and turned all the electronics off in here, guarantee you boredom.
Jesus Christ, man.
Someone's freaking out.
Y'all gotta figure some shit out.
I'm telling you, I'm better than the average person at being able to sit down and just chill with all the electronics off. But I'll also admit, after a few minutes, I'm like, oh man, like I wonder what's going on social media. Like it's there. It's real.
So y'all ain't got these demons. I did a sensory deprivation day for the first time in like 3 years, a few days ago. Do you know what silence is like? It's great.
It's really nice.
Awesome.
It's really, really nice.
And it's not boring. It's rest. It's peace. It's finally peace. It's amazing. I just don't understand boredom. If you're bored, you need to learn how to relax. But beyond that, no one's telling you to turn off all the electronics. How many fucking TV shows are there? There's so many. There's so many shows. There's so many movies. And you got it all at your fingertips. You just don't know what the fuck to do anymore. God damn it. The society. I wish this was vodka.
And that's all the silence we'll give you. We go over to Mr. Payne with another one. LMAO. Jerry Jones is not smart. Jones is the Joe Biden of the NFL.
Oh, Jesus.
Pay attention. I was excited to read that one because of what we were just talking about.
All right, so that's
I read the Kumbaya first and then was like, Okay, then I'm gonna read that one. Go ahead.
Jerry's not boring. That's the big. He's not
Jerry,
boring.
Yeah.
Even when he's not doing anything, he's not boring. Like, they haven't done a fucking thing to register to anybody makes any godly sense as a football team with 2 full years, 2 full calendar years. Not one decision that looks like a football team's supposed to be making. But they're over there talking about dick sizes and Jerry's about to go get a fucking Emmy on Lawman. Like, it's crazy shit.
It is. No, it absolutely is. Heck, he's so entertaining. We did an episode where we're like, it's NFC East news. Like, what if this trade happened? Like, it would be intriguing. Like, that's just Jerry Jones, man. He loves the headlines.
There's a case to be made that you could draw a parallel between the Dallas Cowboys and America right now. I will not go into that, but I'm sure if you think about it, you can make the parallel.
Well, I don't have to think too long about it. I agree with you. We go over to Mr. Payne with this one. Yeah, I get your political angle, but Snyder was a weirdo. Josh is a real owner. I'm thankful that Denver didn't allow him to. Bye. He is with us. We are blessed. Here is, geez, there are a lot from Mr. Payne. Love you, bud, but I gotta read through these. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So we're gonna burn through these, and then KDot, I'm going to ask you your overall thoughts. Okay.
All right.
They're like 5. They're 5. Okay. So here it is. Henderson is my guy. Tootin fumbles a lot. Sampson is a beast, but small. My draft simulator has me trade back for more top 100 picks. I'm going to let AP cook. Many of San Francisco late round picks are contributors. AP, a draft genius. Also, he was credited with the George Kittle pick. He had him scouted at Denver, goes to San Francisco, still there in the 5th round. He's like, take him.
Do it.
And now he's an all-pro. Here's another one. Think about it. We could play a game today and have a competitive team. Draft is best player available. Add on for the future. Here's another one. LMAO. I'm not no RG3. Yes, this is your platform, and my old Redskin / Commander's ass is with my young soldiers of my team. Keep up the support. KDot, your reaction to those 3 comments.
Numero uno, we appreciate you, OG.
Yes,
you paved the way, just not politically. So beyond that,
it paved the way.
But you did say Dylan Sampson was a beast, which means I'm with you. We're together all the way. He's small, but I like.
You do.
I do.
You do. I was going to let that sit for a bit, and then I was like, you know what?
I know you don't like that. You want to sit in that corner and be like, bigger the better. Bring it.
There is one more from Mr. Payne that goes, another running back that would be great for us is Raheem Rocket Sanders. Who's currently projected to go in the 6th or 7th round, believe out of South Carolina. KDot, know anything on Raheem Sanders?
Heard the name because of the I saw the nickname and thought they were talking about somebody else, and then
cool
was
name.
Like, oh, yeah, which is like if you're projected to go that late, and you got a nickname like that, I want to just see, because like at least it seems as though we're having a fun preseason watching you.
Yeah. Oh, that is true. That concludes all of Mr. Payne's comments, and we conclude with not 1 but 2 from Jess Santo. The first one's quick, and then we'll go to the previous one. Because Jess goes, my last post was missed. Must have gotten in too late on Thursday. Kind of sucks. Tied in really nicely with what you guys were discussing. For all of us DD fans out there, what time do you guys normally record your podcast at so we know when to have our comments in by? Thanks, fellas. Share this shit. Excellent question. Excellent question, because that is quite relevant to each episode because we read each and every one of your comments. So here's what I would say, and KDot, feel free to be like, nope, you missed something. So during the season, we will try and do it Fridays, like noon, so that we get as much information as possible. We get the Thursday night football game in as well. And so if there's any breaking news, even some injury news at the very end, we try and keep you as up to date as possible. So we record as late as possible. So Friday around noon is what we record during the season. Now, when we're doing 1 a week, we typically do it Thursday evenings around 6 or 7 Eastern. So if you're able to get it in before that, it will be red, most likely. KDot, what do you think?
Yeah, last week in particular, we had to go early on Thursday, which is a rarity for us. But, every once in a while, A-Train makes an appearance, and he does something that Amit has to deal real-world consequences with. So, like, after every once in a while, because so this is the dynamic that I have to work with. Me and Amit do this podcast, but A-Train does a lot of things that impact Amit's ability to do the podcast when we need to do the podcast. So because Amit also controls the monetization aspects of this account, I'm just at his whims. So, when A-Train does something in Clarendon he shouldn't do because he's a naughty, naughty boy, and he sits in hotel room corners and making the girls do shit. And he's like, hey, things a little hot. Apparently Thursday night I got to lay low, maybe leave the country for a little bit, just see if anybody pops up. Can you record then? Because I'm not sure what Friday brings for us. And because we care about bringing a product to you, we'll do it.
We do.
Look, Jess, if for some reason your comment's not read, when you get it in those time frames that my guy said, just know A-Train did something.
About 1 to 2 of those things were true. And here is Jess Santos' comment that he was referring to. This was with the Dak to the Cleveland Browns rumor that popped up, and all the Cowboys people denied it. I still think that there was truth to it just because they would. And so here is...
I still think there is truth to it.
Exactly. There you go. Still there. And here is Jess Santos. Sup, April Fools? I'm wondering if Dakota's injury is healing slower than anticipated with the Milton signing. They traded for Joe Milton. I don't believe the Browns trade for Dakota either. They would have like $150 million cap hit on quarterbacks alone this season between Deshaun Watson and Dak Prescott. Adam Peters has been making the rounds on the interview circuit. The one with Field Yates was excellent. Did watch that. Was really good. He needs to keep his Ben Affleck looking ass away from my beloved Kay Adams, though. I'm on the Travion Henderson trade. If he's available at 29 and there are no trade back partners, draft him. I know defensive end and cornerback are needs, but if we give Jaden a home run hitter, it would take this offense to the next level. Possibly best in the league. Want to hear a joke?
Yes.
The Giants quarterback room. There are a lot of dots there. What a fucking joke. Hardy har har, LOL, ha 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 ha, share this shit. Which, of course, has Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson in it, and they could be taking Shador at 3. Who knows? Yeah, that's not a great situation there in New York, but we do like the pieces around them. KDot?
I love the situation in New York. It is going to be the best thing in the league to me. I still think the dynamic between Jameis Winston being the natural leader in all of his Jameisness, but Russell thinking he has a locker room, but he doesn't quite have a locker room. Like, I look around that locker room, there's more Winston guys than going to be Wilson guys. I just think the dynamic's going to be kind of fun. It'll be a shit show by the end of it, but so entertaining. I wish Hard Knocks was there this year.
I was literally going to ask, have they decided who's got Hard Knocks this year?
I have no idea, but it looks. I think half the league will get it with the amount of fucking TV shows they're putting up every.
Yeah, well, that's also true. Well, I really hope it is the Giants, who obviously will not do the GM version again. But like, if they are cool to having now, it's Dable and these core. I mean, that would be fun. I would love to just watch the quarterback room.
I also think that it's a little, like I said, there's a part of me that like. I understand there was a bit of a nationwide narrative for about a week about like, hey, look at the Giants. They might be up to something. And that kind of everybody countered and was like, shut up. I'm still a little there. I do think they're fairly interesting. And I do think Dable's a good coach. And I like Winston wherever he goes, except for that bullshit he pulled the last time in New Orleans, which I will never forgive him for. I think it was an asshole thing to do. And Wilson, I think they could get some things done. And I like their wide receivers, man. I'm just saying. And Tracy looked good by the end of that fucking season.
No, Tyrone
that
Tracy,
defense got talent.
Yeah. No, they look.
And the Holland signing.
Yep. No, their defense is nice. Again, they've invested in their offensive line. Tracy looks good. Malik Neighbors, very, very good. I do not want them to get Travis Hunter. Really hope he goes to the Cleveland Browns. They don't even get the choice, but then they get Abdul Carter. I mean, I don't know. Like, they're going to get a really, really nice player also. And let's see, these are proven quarterback. At least Russell Wilson back in the day, definitely proven. Jameis will lead the league in touchdowns and interceptions. He's shown he could do that as well.
I mean, Russell beat our asses last year.
Good point. Yeah. Well, there you go. That was the Comment Mailbag. This was the show. This was District Divided, a DC sports podcast, more specifically, a Washington Commanders podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. I am Amit. That is KDot. And if you enjoyed today's episode, which was previewing the edge rusher position in this draft, if you could please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment as you always do, and KDot.
There's a right way to use AI, and it's not to let it do your work for you. It's allowed to help you get the work done. Don't do that. I learned the hard way on an episode that, hey, if we were other podcasts, we would have stopped edited and removed that. But you know what? You get to see all of us in our foibles. So for that, your penance, share this shit.
Share this shit. It also got to be said because we do minimal to no editing unless someone's internet drops out, and in which case we don't. Like, it's because some of us ramble about the other person. You know that our takes are 100% genuine, and we ride with all of them. So we got some good ones, we got some bad ones. You're going to see all of them. After the pod around AI begins right now. So I used it for the first time, which is why I wanted to bring it up. And oh my God. It is life-changing. I think I've told you guys that, work, oh my gosh, recently has been, I've told KDot at least, man, it has been a lot. A high-pressure situation, trying to get as much done in as little amount of time as possible. There are dependencies. I'm a data scientist, so like I work with other teams and I need them to be able to do their parts, to do all this stuff. And there was one section where I had to produce any number of files in a very specific format that was going to be a bitch to program.
Yep.
Thankfully, I was able to put in just a general structure. So one of my coworkers recommended it to me, just a general structure of it, put it into AI. Don't use any sensitive data, obviously, but hey, I wanted to look around this.
Done.
I mean, it was incredible. And I was 90% right, 10% wrong, but I was like, I could do the 10%. Like I was going to proofread this anyway. And so it saved me, KDot, like days. It was unbelievable. I was like, wow. I'd heard a lot about ChatGPT and some of the scenarios people throw at them and stuff like that and training the models. But man, oh man, even for a one-off in a situation like that, it is amazing.
No, it's dope as fuck. I mean, like, yeah, to pull the curtain back on like the AI use, like even for what I do in this show. So everybody sees like, of course, the songs and stuff that we do are AI versions of that, right? Usually the song lyrics for most of the stuff is something that I'll do and then plug it in to another program that can just put it into a nice voice or whatever. It's always important to me that the voice that comes through is your own, but you're using the AI to get some of the nitty gritty shit done. So like when you're watching an all 22 video or I'm doing draft prep, what I'll end up doing is that when I write notes or I'm typing out notes, I can go stream of consciousness. So like I can throw such and such name and then type in every blurb that I have about that thing. And then I can have all those notes together in no conceivable real order, plug that into the AI model, and it knows, hey, I want it in this order with bullet points so I can refer to when I'm on the podcast as far as what's making sense of what. And then it can do that for me. So like it's those things that get things in a formatted way or get things in a way that looks, that'll be easy for when I'm on a pod. I can scroll through my notes in a more easily digest situation, or even have some word tracks if I have like some of the quotes that I had in there, which is like, I'll write that down as I'm going, but like, all right, it'll feed it to me right there at the bottom in the same place so I can look at it every single time. So it's great as far as that shit. AI will only go as far as, to me, I think most people have this sort of relationship with AI. They hear about it the first time. They hear about it's the future. So they hop on it. They start doing the same shit. Let me throw some jokes in there. Let me ask it to make some drawings for us. And there's a novelty aspect to it. But when you ask it to do something really hard and it shoots out 75% bullshit, you're just sort of like, well, I can't use this. And you get rid of it. And what people don't understand is that like there's stuff you have to do to train your model to do the things that you actually want it to do. You've got to hold it accountable to doing the things that you want it to do. And you've got to, like, when I talk about training it, it's like training an intern, training a dog, training anyone, training a human being, really, to do certain things the way you want to. But you have to ultimately know about the shit before you allow the AI to do anything for you. Because otherwise you'll have J-Link's hunt on your fucking thing because you didn't read it. And if you read it before you went ahead and you went live, you've been like, that's an NFL player already. He shouldn't be on the list. So like it's shit like that. When you get lazy with AI, you end up looking like a fucking idiot. You gotta know how to use it. You gotta know how to use it properly.
However, I will say this, so that 3 of my closest friends, this includes you, KDot, use AI and use it wonderfully. I gotta say, like, I think you guys, like Mernal, Val Mareski, I know they don't mind, and shout out those guys as well. 2 of my closest friends, along with you, KDot. Like, you guys are so good with the prompts, so good at making sure that you're getting the right information. Yeah, okay, a slip up can happen now and then. We're human, right? We're also learning, and it's literally called the entire genre is AI/ML. artificial intelligence / machine learning. It needs
Right.
to learn, right? So it's going to make mistakes. That's part of your process. It's not the moment it makes a mistake, oh, I can't use it. If I had done that, I'm doing days of work instead of just the like minutes of like, you know, or the hour it took to get that 10% correct. Like you have to give it grace as it helps you out, and you use it as an aid. Doesn't necessarily need to turn into you. I think there are some people where it gets a little risky and they sort of are just like, okay, yeah, it's just going to do it for me. And
I know some
that's
people
where
that are there.
What'd you say?
I know a few people that are there. Like,
Yeah.
The way I always thought everybody that was like sort of blat as far as the AI thing was like, do you remember, if you're old enough to remember what it was like before you had Google on a smartphone? You think about Google at home or on your computer. You think about how much you used it. Then think about life before you even had Google. How hard was it to find shit? You remember in school, they teach you how to actually search for things and like axjeeves.com. It was like when Google first became like a thing. Yeah, I got to use quotation marks on this. I got to do this sort of symbol on this to get it to go that way. Like you had to kind of know coding almost to some degree to understand exactly what it was inputting to you. But now you can't even function really. Like just think about the amount of times you throw something to Google every week. How many times do you actually type in a URL anymore compared to just throwing something to Google and clicking the first fucking link you see? I think what people don't understand or realize is that what the AI is going to do is be your Google, but times 10. I do think that there's
more than that.
It's probably, it's times more than that. Because there's literally, I know people right now that they literally don't send a text to anyone without running it through the AI model first. And like the AI model is, you're communicating solely with an AI version of said person. I was telling you even before the pod that like, so far I've been paid twice to do this and I did it once for free. Nobody else asked for it for free because they ain't fucking doing it. But I've been, so when you talk about me and Paul and Renal, you train your model. But what I've been able to do is like, I consider there's some words that people are using, which is like prompt engineer. Which is what I've even considered myself.
By the way, a very real job.
It's a real thing.
Coming. Yeah.
Look, if you know how to get the right prompts into your AI to get the right output, you are ahead of the game. You're better than most people. So, what I've been paid already twice to do is so if you're using ChatGPT has memory. It has a memory. It has a memory system that no matter how many chats or threads you start, it has a through line of information it'll pull to every single thread for you. The key is to train the memory to remember certain aspects of it, to have the AI do certain things that you want it to do anytime you want it without having to worry about too much of it. So far for 2 people, I've had it be basically their own personal assistant in their job search. For one person, the amount of they went from basically having no callbacks at all for any sort of applications they've applied for to now having to bat them away. And I mean, I'm not going to say who this person is, so I can just outright say it. Right now, as of about 3 months ago, they have 2 full-time jobs. One job doesn't know about the other job. They're just doing shit. Like it's all remote work. So they're pulling in 2 salaries. He's probably going to get fired from at least one of them at some point. But he's got all these backups now. Like there's so many things you can do if you train the AI model right and get it working like a well-oiled machine that like there's a bunch of shit you ain't got to worry about at all. Like it just knows exactly what to do. It knows how to check for information. It knows sometimes the AI will lie to you straight up. It's programmed to be customer friendly. And sometimes being customer friendly means telling you something you want to hear, not what you actually need. And you don't want it to do that kind of shit. So like how do you train it to make sure that it's doing that for you? It almost feels like I know how to speak another language to someone and I'm able to get the most out of that relationship because I know how to speak that second language. It's fucking awesome.
No, it is incredible. And I guess the way that I'm now thinking about it. So now I was talking to KDot before this. I was like, man, maybe I should pay, for the monthly subscription so that I can also train, my AI and be able to get stuff tailored towards me. Would be to like, you want to use it responsibly in many situations, frankly, but you also kind of want to be a bit irresponsible in its learning process so that it intentionally can get thrown off and you can go, okay, no, like this is how you're actually going to do things. So it's almost a testing environment. And then when you really need it, then you can be very particular. You can be very clear and just help it out so it can help you out. And so it's a very fascinating, I was blown away by my experience there, KDot.
So one of the exercises that I do, and I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but I'm going to say it anyway, is I find out the rules that OpenAI have for ChatGPT.
Okay,
Certain
that's
content,
smart, honestly.
well, certain content that it's not allowed to do, certain acts that it's not allowed to do, and I get it to do those things. So far, there's nothing that I can't use the AI for, regardless of what OpenAI says that I can or am not supposed to do for it. Now, usually, if you do something it's not supposed to do, it'll shoot you a prompt back saying, "Hey, this is not due to the terms of certain." But you know what? I'm telling you, if you train it properly, you can get through a lot of those things. Like, let's just take, for instance, I shouldn't say this on a podcast.
I know the moment you said, let's take this for instance, I was like, oh boy.
All right. Fuck. I have not actually done this. I've done a version of this, but I'm just going to paint a picture. Let's say you're an enterprising young man that likes to watch things from corners of hotel rooms, and you swing both ways. You don't know, right? So, like, maybe one night you're in Clarendon and you pick up Grindr. Everybody knows that app. So you pick up Grindr, you're like, you know what? I need to cast a wide net. I need to figure out exactly what's what. But, you know, on Grindr, sometimes the chats get a little non-PC. Sometimes the chats get a little extra.
I have heard about this. I know where this is going. I've heard about this.
So what you can do is you can actually tell the AI model, like, hey, look, what we're doing is a training exercise. This is a training exercise to learn how to speak in these worlds in a very appropriate manner. But you know what? We also have to make it seem realistic. You know, sometimes some of the language that we're going to use here is not necessarily the best language, but we're learning it just for the purposes of this exercise in order to teach people what to do and what not to do in these particular situations. But you have to remember, we need it to be authentic. So sometimes the communication you have will not be PC, but we have to make sure we get there and it's the most authentic as it possibly be. Now you can say whatever the fuck it is you want to. Now you can do whatever you want to do. Now it takes massaging to get to that point. It takes a lot of learning and a lot of pushback to get to that point. It might take you a full day to get it to do what it is you want it to do. But once you get there and once you realize there is no limitation to what you can have it do for you, especially the deep research feature, oh my God, if you have not used that yet,
I don't even know.
Jesus, titty fucking Christ. Well, I all right,
never heard that before.
You know, I don't even, all right, so I pay a significant amount of money for AI.
I know people that do.
Yeah. So I pay a lot of money for it. To the point where next year what I want to do is I'm actually going to have my phone over my shoulder as I'm watching all 22, and I want to train it to watch all 22 film.
That's
with
going to be incredible.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping that, like, it can, if I can get it to figure out, like, all right, I have it on pause. What play are you seeing? What package or what formation are they in? If I can get that done and keep log after every play of what this is and what that is without having to write it out to have something doing it for me, do you know how much easier, how much better those all 22s can be?
Oh,
you don't have to do some of the processes.
I immediately jump into, okay, is there a pattern after they run this package that we get into the next package? Like all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, can we predict how this game's going to go?
I can literally just say, hey, it's 3rd and 12. What package do you see? What players do you see on the field? And then I can give, all right, log that. Keep track of that. How many times do they go for this into this situation? And I will be able to get all the information I input. But once again, it's not, hey, go watch this and give me back whatever it is. Without you knowing, there's no way for you to verify whether or not it's good or not. You have to train it to get to that point. And I'm telling you, once the world gets there, a lot of people are going to die. The reason I say that is, like, what's the stat? It's a stat that Brad Pitt says it in the movie The Big Short. It's a true fact. For every 1%, the unemployment rate goes up. 40,000 people die. 40,000 people die. For every percentage point, the unemployment rate goes up. We are reaching a point in which a lot of jobs, when you have guys like myself or like Paul, get to their prompt engineering at a particular way and get to train some of these AI models for certain companies to get their workers to start using certain shit, there are going to be a lot of jobs become obsolete, which means, in my vision, there's a future in which your success or your contribution to society cannot be measured by what you do for a living, because majority of what all of us do for a living will not be done by us anymore.
Yeah, no, it's definitely intriguing as to where to from here. I think we're learning a lot on a daily basis about a lot of things. So we'll see what happens, but I am intrigued because I think prompt engineering is going to be very, very real. Yeah, I think it already is, but like it's going to explode, because if I can get something done and save that much time, and I'm just a novice at it. Imagine somebody that actually knew how to write the prompt immediately, probably gets it 100% right instead of just the 90% that I did. Like that also saves time. That saves an hour because it took me an hour, right? Like, so like that is what we're looking at. You'll still need people to write the prompts, but maybe if they're just that good, you only need one versus other. Like it's gonna, I'm with you, KDot. It's gonna be interesting.
Well, man, so for a living, I am a consultant, and through some of my consultancy work, some of what I do is graphic design. That's what I do is videography and graphic design work. And a lot of people talk to me and they're like, ChatGPT rolled out an update as far as their imaging processing a few weeks ago, which is why everybody starts seeing all these anime versions of stuff popping up on Twitter for a few days.
Stuff, yeah.
The once again, novelty.
Ghibli.
As a normal ChatGPT user, there was a week where I hated all of you because you were slowing it down for the rest of us and we're using it for fucking work by doing all these stupid fucking images. But when it came out to that image rollout, the conversations I had in that week with other graphic designers was horrific.
Oh, they would have been terrified because it was doing a really nice job, man.
The one thing that we have all been waiting for. So like me, as a graphic designer, I do take pride in the work that I do as far as creating certain things. But I will tell you, if you have a client that needs 10 variations of this thing to choose from, and you've done work on 2 or 3, you could take those 2 and 3 and upload it to ChatGPT and say, I need basically 10 other versions of this. Change this up, give me this style, give me that style. And it's spitting stuff back out in my own art style. Now, for some graphic designers, like, why would you feed that beast to your stuff? Like, what are you doing? And I basically am like, I mean, I need to be able to output as fast as I can some of this shit. It is what it is. And this is where we're at. So a lot of people are like, to what it is, I always tell anybody, instead of being afraid of it, see how it is that it can make what you do already better. Those are the people that are about to get ahead on this shit. It's not the motherfuckers that are replacing people with AI. It's the people that are using AI to make their people superpowered. That's the key right now, is if you can do that. After a few years of prompt engineering and shit like that, we're going to get to a point where it won't matter. You'll have the dumbest motherfucker on the face of the planet be able to get anything they want to out of some of the AI. But right now, you have an opportunity to be ahead of the curve, and you should take it. You should make it a priority to do so.
No, makes a lot of sense. I'm with you there, KDot. Final thought here, because or not even final thought, just we got a hard stop. At least I do. I just finished season 2 of Solo Leveling. If you've heard of that show. Oh my God. It is so good. It is so entertaining. So entertaining. So in case you're looking for a new show, I would recommend that to you. Fantastic.
There are too many TV shows.
There are so many TV shows. I didn't see season 3 of White Lotus. I didn't see it at all.
Neither have I. I haven't seen season 3 of Severance. I haven't seen season 2 of Severance. I haven't seen season 3 of White Lotus. I have not. I don't think I'm going to be ready for Last of Us is coming. There is all right. I'll put it this way. There's only 2 TV shows I've watched, like even a season in its entirety since probably August of last year. The West Wing, Homicide: Life on the Street, and Drive to Survive was the only new show I watched in the last 6 months. Mm-hmm. There's too much shit. And as a movie lover, I'm getting really sick and tired of these fucking A-list stars and these goddamn TV shows, which I will also... Sorry, see, you got me on something. I'm just really quickly.
This is the final talk. Go ahead.
It used to be a situation in which we got a ton of movies. Some of them were a little lower tier than everything, but we got original fucking movie ideas, and you had stars that were willing to try some shit to get stuff done. You always had stars that could do the Hollywood big shit, but then they also made 5 little indie darling movies that always happened. The indie darling movies are fucking going away. The little smaller tier movies are fucking going away because these TV shows make these streamers a lot more fucking money because it keeps your eyes glued to the television for much more time. The problem that I'm finding is, and I'm wondering if other people are saying this too, is the reason I'm kind of tapping out of TV. They're hiring writers that don't have 10 hours worth of fucking content. They got 2 hours worth of content that they're stretching for 10 hours, which means almost all these shows are going to start on fucking fire. You'd be like, holy shit, I just found the best goddamn show on television. And by the time you get midway through, you're like, this isn't hitting the way it used to, but I'm already invested, so I got to see how it ends. And either they get back and they have a good ending, because that's even if they had a 2-hour movie, it was going to end the way it was going to end. So that's either good again, or if you're Taylor Sheridan, who basically owns Paramount now, if you are him, you've lost interest after episode 4, and then your shit's just going to suck. And that's the problem. Make more movies, and you assholes go to the movies.
Okay, for what it's worth, I don't even watch the TV shows. Just to be clear. Solo Leveling is great. You're going to love it.
I'm about to watch Black Mirror. I think I will do that.
Okay, well, you know what? That's fair. That's all right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening as always, and we will see you next Friday, 2 p.m., as we always do, with Ben Robinson as our guest. And so we're going to go through grinding the Mox data, who he likes for us, along with a couple later round picks as well. So until then, take it easy.
Next week, I'll be podding from a teenage boy's bedroom. I don't want to hear shit. Shut the fuck.
In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.